now coming to grips with being targeted by their own government.
I have seen myself red Hyundai cars touring around the city. They have tinted windows and armed people inside it. They shoot any youth or anybody that gets out of their home.
And what will happen in Libya after Gaddafi? His son warns of civil war.
The only person who's out of the streets killing people right now is the people recruited by Gaddafi's regime. They're threats that the country will be divided. This is a big lie. This will never happen. The South and West and East and North, everybody is just one. We are all in this together. We all want one thing. We want to be freed by his regime. He lied. He tried to show that Libya is full of terrorists. The only terrorist of the country is Gaddafi.
He is still there, even though some of his military and some of his henchmen seem to be abandoning him. One of his top men at the UN, who's represented him for years, denounced him today in no uncertain terms.
The nature of Colonel Gaddafi, I think he cannot live without the blood. I mean, the whole 42 years in power, he was shooting the people. Everyone knows what he did, the genocide he did in the Abu Salim prison. He killed 1,200 in one day. So I think it is, and now it is clear that he declared the war on the Libyan people, and he will kill as much as he can.
That was Libya's deputy envoy to the UN, speaking very plainly. But the Libyan ambassador to the U.S. is also making headlines today. He told the BBC, "I'm with the people." When I saw that online, I looked up the interview, and it sounded like he's saying he wants Gaddafi to step down. But is that really what he's saying? Is he truly breaking with Gaddafi, or is he trying to have it both ways? I want you to take a look at this interview I did with him just a short time ago. I sat down with him earlier, and I was trying to understand what position this lifelong representative of the Gaddafi regime was taking. Watch this interview, judge for yourself if he's being sincere or just an opportunist. Mr. Ambassador, you say you are no longer representing the regime. So are you now calling on Muammar Gaddafi to step down?
I'm not calling on Muammar Gaddafi to step down. I'm calling for Libya and the Libyan wise men and women to stop what's going in the country.
So at what point did you decide this has gone too far? At what point did you decide too many people are getting killed as opposed to the regular number of people who are getting killed?
Well, I think when I see the people, about 300 being killed in a few days in eastern part only, when I see people, they've been killed by heavy machine guns, and there is no initiative from the authority to discuss the whole issue, and the only option is to use power, then this is when I decided that the thing is getting wrong.
So you don't think Gaddafi should step down now?
Well, I think this is for the people who are, I'm representing the people. I am for the people goals, and for the people hopes, and for the people
But aren't the people calling for Gaddafi to step down?
I think the people is having that tension because of what's going on Libya, because of the killing of the Libyan, because of it is going too far to stop this killing.
It does sound, I think some people are going to hear your statement and think that you are sounding like an opportunist, that the regime seems like it may fall, so you're now saying you don't actually represent the regime, you're with the people, but at the same time, you're not saying you want Gaddafi to step down. I'm not clear what...
Well, I think, look, I think what I need, I was really surprised last night when I was watching Saif speaking, and I thought Saif, he will come up with a very good solution, and he will come out with some suggestions.
You're talking about Gaddafi's son.
Yeah, to stop what's going on in Libya. But unfortunately, what I have seen, that's very disappointed, and that's maybe which is make the situation is really difficult.
But hasn't your regime been arresting people for years and torturing people? And I mean, it hasn't been a place where anyone can speak out against Gaddafi.
Well, I think this has happened in Libya, and this is happening in many third world countries, unfortunately. But I am the man who believes in the law process.
Again, there are going to be some people who hear your comments, and I want you to be able to respond to what they're going to think. A lot of people watching this are going to think that for years you have made excuses for this regime, that you have been the face of this regime in the United States. Do you regret anything you have done up to now?
I regret nothing because I'm always working for the interests of the people. I'm always promoting the relation between Libya and I want Libyan people to get benefits from the
But you took your orders from Gaddafi, no?
Gaddafi doesn't give orders to us directly, to be honest to you.
But he's a dictator who rules this country with his son.
Even if I have a different thing, I have some differences of the way the thing is being handled of Libya, but I have to be fair with myself and I have to be honest with myself. I believe that I was doing my job with honesty and dignity.
You said publicly that Libya is a free country. Did you believe that? And do you still believe that?
Well, I believe that people, they can speak and they can protest because there are few protest demonstrations in Libya, especially in Benghazi. But free, it is a very huge word. You can't free. That means different from Libya to United States, from United States to Russia, and this is a big word.
It is a big word indeed. Mr. Bashar, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Back at Fuad Ajami, Johns Hopkins University, Stanford University's Hoover Institution, also in Washington, Foreign Affairs correspondent Jill Doherty and Ben Wiedemann, the first Western TV journalist to get inside the country during this crisis. He's in eastern Libya. To hear him say, well, freedom is how you define free, and well, everybody tortures, it's pretty remarkable.
Well, look, these people have lived in this, what we once, a few days ago, we called the penal colony of Muammar al-Gaddafi. And by their lights, this is freedom as they see it. But I think the lies of this regime and the brutalities of this regime are now there.
It seems hypocritical for a guy who's been representing this regime for much of his diplomatic life for decades to now be saying he's with the people and actually doesn't take orders from Gaddafi. I mean, that's just not true.
Well, those are the fence sitters I was talking about. These are the kinds of people that you would sway with a determined statement by the President of the United States, by other world powers, that what is going on in Libya is no longer tolerable by the standards of civilized society. And by the way, when we're now headed into Libya, we are now headed into a different, if you will, part of the Arab world. Look at Tunisia, Egypt, and Bahrain. There were revolts in pro-Western countries, vulnerable to Western opinion. Now, when you look at Libya, Syria, and Iran, you're talking about anti-Western countries. And the President of Syria has made this remarkably wicked statement that only pro-Western countries fall. That the anti-Western countries, because they're willing to kill and they are immune from world opinion and from Western opinion, they will survive. This is what's being tested in a very cruel way in Muammar al-Gaddafi's republic.
And then people in the East feel that they are still not safe. They feel that the Gaddafi regime could send in mercenaries, could bomb, could do virtually anything. They're still preparing for a battle, correct?
It's just crazy, huh?
I think we lost Ben. We'll try to reestablish contact with him. Jill, in terms of the Obama administration, what have they said?
They've said stop the violence. I mean, that's the main thing that they're saying. But it could be falling on deaf ears.
They're not calling for, at this point, for Gaddafi to step down, to get out of the country?
They haven't specifically said that. I mean, the statement, I was looking at Secretary Clinton's statement. We're watching this with alarm. I mean, the words that they're using are really red flag words. But essentially, they're concentrating on the violence because it has been so horrific. They're not saying how it should be solved, but they are certainly working with the international community right now to try to muster some type of movement to put pressure on Gaddafi, if that even works.
Do we know? I mean, there was some talk about among protesters of wanting a no-fly zone over Libya, so Gaddafi couldn't fly in more mercenaries or couldn't send up his jets to bomb people. Is that something the UN Security Council might consider tomorrow?
That actually came up as a little bit of a story today, that it was shot down. It might have been premature. I really do not know what they could come up with at that point. That would take a lot of concerted effort, though, to get that passed.
And Libyans are virtually cut off from the outside world. Only a few phone calls getting through. The internet is down, obviously. How are people staying